Hey everybody, I just want to ask you something. What makes a person special? Do you think that there is any particular type of person that's more special or better than any other? Because that's a big question. And in fact, when I started making this video, as soon as I pushed the record button, that wasn't even what my video was going to be about, but that's what popped into my head. So that's what it's about now. Nobody, anybody who thinks that someone is better than them or that they're better than someone else, both are wrong. And I think you're better off to think someone's better than you and to have an ego, a lack of ego, than to have too much ego and think you're better than someone else. But we see this all around us. And what this is based on is what we consider to be important, which is money. And you could bring it, if you want to just break it down to the basics, it's cash, yeah. How much money do you have and how much stuff have you accumulated? And we all know this. This is, common knowledge that money doesn't buy happiness, blah, blah, blah. So why do we tend to feel inferior towards people that are, of a higher stature? It's kind of like the people that think of musicians or actors and actresses as these like gods and goddesses. Like, I remember when I was younger and I'd watch a movie and I'd think, wow, that person's awesome, and like not because they're in a movie or anything, but like that, they've got all this money and they're doing so well, and it must be so hard to talk to someone like that or to get an autograph, And it seemed kind of unfeasible. But when you get right down to it and realize that musicians and artists and, everybody's just like you, just like us. While people might be a little more egomaniacal, for the most part, most people are pretty down to earth and they understand being humble. You can pretty much walk up to anybody you want and really get an autograph. But that's not what this is about. On the contrary, when I was young, I never wanted autographs from anybody. I'd go to shows. I never wanted to go backstage. I was the guy who just never gave a crap. And even to this day, my 18-year-old son asked me, when he was younger, in his mid-teen years, about, oh, this song from this band, or this song, because we got him into a lot of music he was into, whether it be, AC/DC and Metallica, or Modest Mouse, or Grateful Dead, you name it, Fish. And he'd always say, oh, this song or this song, and I'd always say no. And he'd say, you don't know the names of the songs? Or how about this guy from the band? I just never cared, and it's because I just never was really that interested in people, and I didn't realize it until I got older. People don't impress me. No, sports player that's got a really high stat, or no musician that's a really good guitarist impresses me any more than anyone else. I just respect the art. Jimi Hendrix has always been like my idol as far as guitar, and I play guitar, bass, drums, whatnot. The guy's phenomenal, but I don't idolize him in any sense. And I think that's what's happened in our society, is that people who have a low self-esteem tend to idolize musicians, artists, actors and actresses as their kind of their gods, in a sense. And this, in the sense of looking at someone as better than you, I can see as being, there's something equally harmful to that, and that's that looking towards a religion and looking towards a god that is better than you. And this is my comparative kind of analogy. We look at these actresses and actors like they're, wow, the movie stars, I can't believe it. They're awesome. They're phenomenal. They do all these great movies, but they struggle just like you and I, and they have all kinds of problems. And you see them later in life doing stupid commercials because they're broke and they blew all their money and they tried to be happy, on and on and on. Well, in religion, we have the same problem, except for in religion, we see them looking towards a god and then respecting this god to an extreme extent, and then idolizing this god and idolizing the texts that are contained within and considering them the gospel, and that's it. Well, this is destructive to mankind as a whole too, because the person who's looking from without for his happiness is doomed to failure, because you need to look within. Looking within from the start, not it doesn't mean that you can't sit down and pray. But what you have to do is realize that when you're praying to everyone, you're praying with everyone, and you're praying to yourself at the same time. I'm not going to break down analogies of religion as the Son of God and whatnot. We all know that we're all sons of God, that in one way or another we're all products of this infinite, vast oneness that we call God. And I was scared of the word God for many years, and now I just use it because it's easier than saying the universal consciousness or the great order or whatever label you want to put on it. But when we idolize any type of God, then this is why so many religions said that we shouldn't idolize, or that there should have no idol before me, or Thou shalt not idolize. This is why, probably part of the reason why in the Muslim religion you're not supposed to, draw pictures of Muhammad. I mean, it might have something to do in the roots of that, where God should not be idolized. God should just be practiced. Because when you practice loving and caring and just being a good person, you start to love yourself. And once you love yourself, then you begin to realize that no matter what a person knows or how old they are or how intelligent they are, you're right there with them and you have something to contribute to. And each one of you are like a flowering, flowering flower. Anyway, peace and love to everyone. Don't idolize people because they're just like you and me. And if you are a kind of person who's really into movies and movie stars and musicians, write them a letter. Send them something in the mail. They'll send you it back signed. It's not like a big deal. I mean, when you're a kid and you're younger and you're in your teen years, you tend to think that some people are untouchable. But you can meet anybody you want if you're determined to do it. So if that's what floats your boat, do it up. And if you're like me and you don't idolize people or you don't really care much about, that kind of stuff, well, I don't know. I guess you're right where I'm at. So either way, there's no intolerance allowed in this world. We need to allow each person to do their own thing. And if a person does have a low self-esteem, or if they just are into movies maybe or whatever it is, respect that and give them the same amount of space you would expect from them. And just like as if you were respecting a religion, you would expect a religious person to respect your point of view, which they seldom have in my experience. But still bound to be proven wrong at one time or another. So perhaps I can have a rational discussion with someone about religion one day that doesn't end in I'm going to burn in hell. So peace and love to everybody. Have a great evening.